introductions. My name is Megan Fitzpatrick, and I am the founder of two educational companies. One is an educational consulting company that helps teenagers decide what to do after high school through a program called The Ultimate Selfie. An ed tech company called Studlytics, which is an ed tech software that helps students decrease distraction while using their online devices, using positive psychology. And then today I am announcing curriculum development director for a coaching platform called Coachera. You guys are the first people actually that I'm telling this to, because this was just yesterday that it was finalized. So we'll get into that in a little bit too, because that's my story about communication. But Charron, I want to kick it over to you, do a little introduction and talk about, your story.
For sure. So I am born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I have a business called Agency 33. It's a full service creative agency. And then I have a second business called Perfect Pineapple, which is my passion project. It's a head wrap and hair accessory brand. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. Darrell?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, my name is Darrell Spencer. I have a background actually in digital marketing. So primarily I worked in corporate America for some years now. I worked across big tech, so LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, Google, and basically scaled many brands and companies utilizing digital advertising across those different platforms. So I learned a lot from those businesses working there and scaling other brands. So I'm like, you know what? I'm passionate about actually hair care, men's grooming. Why don't I actually scale my own brand and business and turn it into a company? So actually during the pandemic, I created my company, King's Crowning, where we create conscious grooming products for men. So we create satin line hair accessories for men, head wraps, similar to Charron, shampoo, conditioner, body butters, pretty much all things encompassing for men's grooming. We created that during the pandemic, scaled it 6 figures and multiple 7 figures. And now we're working on a solid exit plan. So that is my story behind King's Crowning, and looking to also, after exiting, be an angel investor and begin investing in other brands, helping them grow.
Oh, you said the creme de la creme of being an entrepreneur and an exit strategy. I mean,
absolutely.
It's definitely something that we all look forward to. I know when I started my first business many years ago, they were like, "Oh, what's your exit strategy?" I was like, "None. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I'm having so much fun." And you realize later on that an exit strategy really is where you want to be, because then you
back 2 years ago, I would have the exact same answer.
It's so true. It's so true. So you were speaking about digital marketing, right, Darrell? I wanted to know, so from the rise of all of the different communication platforms that have come up, right? Like we had Clubhouse during COVID that like shot up out of nowhere and then crashing down. And now, we had Twitter Spaces and all of that. So how has that noise helped or hindered your journey?
Yeah, so I think with Twitter Spaces and the other, I would say it allowed your consumers to come closer to you. Let me be honest with you, right? I think that digital marketing is an amazing platform, amazing outlet, because it creates closeness, right? It makes your brand feel closer through everyone scrolling all day, every day, right? They're on their phones, right? But they can actually see you closer, right? And if you can find ways to retarget, get closer to them, right? If they're scrolling on their feed or their story, we find different ways through utilization of digital marketing to actually get in front of our customers at the right time and at the right place. So I think that that's just another outlet that, we can find ways to just throw our business in there also in different ways, in different more strategic and creative ways, right? Similar to digital marketing. So I think they all go hand in hand with one another. All it does is simply, it gives us the different outlets and different methods, right, to get closer to our clients and build additional brand awareness. So I think they all work together, right? I call it a big digital ecosystem, right? Every platform, every outlet, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Twitter Spaces, whether it's Clubhouse, whether it's digital marketing, right? They all work together in an overall funnel, right? Whether it's top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. They all work together at the end of the day to bring our customers in close, make them warmer until we eventually get to a conversion. But that's our language, right? In digital marketing, but a conversion is a sale, right? So they all work together to bring them closer and closer to that actual sale and conversion. So they all work in tandem with each other.
Yeah, definitely. Charron, do you have any insight on the different, communication channels that are out there?
Yeah, for sure. Like what Darrell said, it's really in terms of building community, it also helps you build a community within your customer base, but also within just your network so that you can market and communicate laterally with and collaborate with other businesses that also builds a larger pool of customers. And so I utilized Clubhouse during the pandemic and it was fantastic. I was able to talk to so many customers. I was able to get real-time customer feedback on my head wraps and my different products. I was also to collaborate with other creatives as I built my brand, other skills and services. So I think that just understanding the different platforms and what they're best used for is the best approach to seeing how you can leverage those different social media platforms to build your business.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, yeah, communication is key. I mean, my background is in education, and I always tell like my entrepreneurship story is slightly different. You know, I went from making very little money to matching my income in like a year, because it's really easy to match a teacher's salary in a year, to be honest with you. But yeah, those skills definitely translate. I wanted to know, Charron, from your journey, you now have a passion project, you're kind of going, you know, you're on both sides of things. Is there a key to communicating within your own personal networks to like share how you're making that transition, right? Like how do you, you know, you're one person to them now, and now you're someone else?
That's a great question. I think with what I did, so a lot of people knew me for Perfect Pineapple because I dedicated it to my grandmother. It has a great brand story. And so when I transitioned into just building out this creative agency, I just leveraged that brand as one of our portfolio projects. So now, Perfect Pineapple is a brand under Agency 33. And because I communicated with my customers throughout the journey, letting them know I'm behind the graphic design, I'm behind the tone of voice, like everything, making the product, they really got to know me as a founder. So when I communicated that to my customers and said, hey, I'm making a transition here, they were just able to follow along with the story. So I think just authenticity and just being a human about your story is really attractive to your customers. It's really attractive to your audience, and they're able to relate to you, because we all know Instagram is like what and things of that nature. But when you're able to kind of open up or kind of break that glass ceiling or cut through the veil and say, hey, this is my real journey. Come along with me. If you like what I'm doing, I thank you for supporting me. I just think that's the best key. Communication and within authenticity, like being authentic within your communication, is the best way to transition your customer base to follow you along your journey.
Definitely. I mean, authenticity is a core value of mine. I think being real and not feeling like you need to get everyone, right? Because it's not about that when you're trying to work with something that's such a passion for you. You don't need all of the market, right? You need everyone eats in my everyone eats at my table kind of idea. You did talk about brand story and being able to really understand your brand story. I wanted to just get a little bit more insight into exactly, where that came from, because you mentioned your grandmother, but I wanted to know a little bit more. You piqued my interest there.
Oh, yes. Okay. So Perfect Pineapple, it started because I'm a loose curl natural, and it was around like 2011 where this like pineappling methodology was trending. And so I actually got a small scarf from my grandmother that I couldn't quite untie. Like I put a knot in it and it was a unique shape, but I found a way to wrap my hair night after night with this one scarf. And I would pineapple my curls, and I was just like, oh, this really actually works. It helps preserve your curls at night. But then I thought to myself, what if I could actually wear this outside? Like anybody who's natural understands the toil of natural hair. And so I'm like, anything that makes my life easier, that's what I want. And so I actually started to use this scarf, and I just made a prototype out of a 4-way stretch fabric and said, wow, this simple design allows me to tie my hair at least 5 different ways within this one scarf. It's small, it's portable, it's easy to use. And I said, I'm sure other people would like that. And that's when the light bulb went off. And so I was actually living with my grandmother at the time, and she was going through cancer. And I was like, okay, well, it works for pineappling. Does it work for folks who don't have hair? How many use cases can I apply this to? And that's kind of how it was born. And so my grandmother was a great inspiration to me. She was a VP. She was unapologetically Black, unapologetically powerful, and, wear braids and kente cloth, blazers to work when people were very much frowning upon that. And so she just encouraged me to pursue it. And before she passed away, she said, promise me you'll start a family business. She said, you're good at the marketing, you're good at branding. I love what you're doing. And she was just like, just promise me you'll start a family business. And she had never said anything like that. Those tough kind of cookies where they're just like, you're not sure if they love you or not. Like, I know she loved me, but she was just very tough. She would ask me hard questions. If I proposed an idea, she would say, okay, well, why? And when she said that, it was a culminating moment to say, wow, all of the questions that she asked me, all of the sort of challenges that she proposed to me was just preparing me because she believed in me. So that was a very sentimental moment, and I plan to keep that promise. So I just wanted to dedicate Perfect Pineapple to her because she was able to touch the product, feel the product. I was able to kind of engage with her while I was building that brand. But marketing and branding and all of that is my background. And so one of those businesses, I'll say I did it for her, for sure.
I definitely love that. I want to actually ask you, Darrell, do you have somebody in your life that has really been that inspiration for you in terms of, how Charron talked about her grandmother? I was wondering if you had, a similar story.
Absolutely. So, well, one, I always say my father. So I grew up in a very middle income household, right? Working class family. But my father actually never grew up even having anything at all. And I've legitimately watched my father come from nothing, right? And creating wealth through real estate. And he knew nothing about it, right? But he drove himself to education, to finding resources, and he found it all on his own. And he found wealth through real estate. And he has a very unique story, and it really motivated me to really find my own passions, right? And find ways to turn around generational wealth for my family as well, which brought me into entrepreneurship. And I actually have a similar story to Charron about how I kind of started King's Crowning and my brand story overall. So it actually started from personal utility. So with King's Crowning, so I actually currently have a fade right now. So I have a short haircut, but prior to the pandemic, I actually had curly hair and I had a curly afro. So one thing that was one of my pain points is that everyone waking up and having my hair just all over the place. It was always all over the place. I had to wake up and do it every single morning. And I was just tired of it, right? And then now in our Black community, Black women have bonnets, right? Where they wear bonnets or the perfect pineapple, right? To preserve and maintain their curls and their hair in the morning, right? However, men at the time didn't have anything marketed to us. And that was created for us by us to protect our hair overnight and have it to maintain that it's in place and keep our curls moisturized and also balanced. So I scoured the web, Google, Facebook, trying to find is there anything unique created for men aside from a bonnet? And I couldn't find anything at all, even marketed towards men. So that's when I'm like, you know what? My light bulb, it rang, right? Because I'm passionate about creating, but also about around men's grooming and Black men's grooming and inequities and inaccessibility. At that point, I created it. So little did I know, there are so many other Black men in the world that literally was looking for a product just like this. So we ended up kind of redefining what the bonnet looked like for women, but for men. So we created a satin line cap that we called a crown for men, which is called King's Crowning. We created a satin line crown for men, and then literally marketed towards men. So it was for us, by us. And literally in the pandemic, we did our first 6 figures. Then year 2 turned into a 7-figure brand. Then we can kind of continue to scale from there. But, it really speaks to honestly finding a need in the market and really honing in on it and really killing it and drilling it in there. And because we found that need and we filled it, we found some strong success in it alongside with other things. But that's the story behind it as well. It's personal utility for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you have a personal connection to something, it definitely, shines through in how you market it and how you are really, a customer of your own. I think you said for us, by us, and it brought me back to my FUBU days back in the day. I'm in
Yes.
stuff there, but I definitely had a lot of FUBU back in the day in high school. But when we're talking about communication can come in a lot of different ways. And I wanted to know, because I have a personal story on, like I said before, I'm releasing for the first time that I'm director of curriculum development for a coaching platform. which is going to, really change the way that, there's a lot of noise in the coaching world of, I'm a coach, I can make you 6 figures in 7 days kind of thing, all that stuff on Instagram. This particular platform cuts through that because it is a platform that sorry, excuse me, lost my words there. My baby's crying in the background. So it is a platform that really helps to equalize coaching. But I wanted to know, because I have a great story about how I met that particular founder and some of my founders that I've met in Miami. But do you guys have any stories around how just using your communication skills like opened up an opportunity for you within your business that are not in a regular kind of sitting there? And while you're thinking about it, I know I put you guys on the spot. It's a funny story. One of my founders and I actually met on a yacht in Miami on a networking experience. And I really didn't take him very seriously. And now I'm the CEO of Studlytics. He said, hey, I have this company. I really wanted to, have a thought leader. And he talked to me about my educational background. And we kind of came to the conclusion that I was going to be running Studlytics, similar to how I met my now co-founder of Coachera. So I'm just wondering, how you guys build your team and, looking towards that next step, how you guys take communication from that perspective.
Well, I think one awesome opportunity that when I think about communication and kind of where it got me and built my network. So for me personally, communication content is king in my business, right? And I think that's pretty much my primary mode of communication also through my business scaling is through content, right? That's kind of how we show our brand story. It's kind of how we communicate our brand, our pain points that most customers can face and see and find. And we do it through content. And our content resonated with so many people, but it resonated specifically with one other Black founder who created one of the biggest companies, just to kind of not bring the name into it. Then they actually ended up resonating with our business and our brand so much through the messaging that they actually reached out and connected us with the actual casting director and manager of Shark Tank. And they ended up connecting us. We had some awesome meetings and we connected. I ended up doing auditions. I made it far, but didn't make it actually on the show. But it just kind of proves to show that, if you have an authentic branding and you can communicate it well and solidly and know your actual brand, can communicate it through content, you never know who's watching. And then you can truly build strong relationships through content, but also through strong communication of your brand and your business.
Yeah, and to Darrell's point, in addition to content, I mean, I have more of a grassroots approach. I just love your business, Darrell, and I haven't necessarily seen that same success, but on a smaller scale with Perfect Pineapple. I just think just really genuine relationships. I'm always going to be the authenticity girl. I'm going to be the genuine communication. Sometimes when you don't even see the potential, or if you're a novice at business, if you haven't seen it done, if you don't really know the pathway and you're going along the journey organically, I think your passion for what you do shines through. So I think having a good network of people around you who just believe in your brand and making those genuine connections and being upfront and honest about what it is that you want to do next is huge. And I would just say, again, when you were talking about the platforms, networking on different platforms like Clubhouse or Twitter or whatever, I think you just need to be like bold and audacious with your communication and just be clear about the next steps that you want to take. Whether you have a clear path or you just have an inkling on, I think this is how I want to proceed. I just think asking for what you want and seeking out that knowledge is key. And I think that comes through bold and audacious communication with not only your customers, but your network.
I love that.
Definitely. I also, we're going to get into 2024 goals and what that looks like for each of us. So Darrell, what are you most looking forward to for 2024?
2024, honestly, I'm most looking forward to continuing to grow, building stronger relationships, product innovations, rolling out additional product lines to add to the business. So finding different angles, also retail. So we have some really strong goals for 2024, but I'm most excited, honestly, about building more stronger relationships. Right now, I'm all about really expanding my network and just connecting with other founders, entrepreneurs, small, medium, and large. I feel like you never know when you can ever you need anyone, right? So I'm really working on fostering and connecting with other entrepreneurs and really building and fostering stronger relationships with all of them.
Love it.
that. Yes. For me, since I've made more of a pivot towards the agency and I'm focusing on building my team. So I'm currently building my team with the agency. I've done some great work here in the city of Cleveland from a creative directive standpoint, from a branding standpoint. So looking to acquire some more clients there, and then building Perfect Pineapple. So I kind of put a pause on it for a while, but I'm excited. I have innovation. I have some patent pending designs. And just looking to hit that hard. I would love to get some distribution into some major retailers in 2024. And so, yeah, I'm just so optimistic about this journey. I think the biggest thing that I've learned with entrepreneurship is not the end goal, but it's the journey and what it teaches you and how it refines you as a person. And everybody's journey is different because everybody starts at a different place internally. And so I think I'm most excited about what the process of pursuing these goals is going to teach me and how it's going to refine and shape me as a person.
Definitely, definitely. As Manny had opened the conversation, I just had a baby. He'll be 5 months old on Christmas Eve. So navigating what it is to be a mom, an entrepreneur, and a business owner of 2 businesses, while, knowing now how important time is. Time was always important. You always want to, optimize your time, but now I just have a whole different perspective on what that looks like. I want to be 100% a mom, 100% a business owner. And like, how do I make that happen? It's not either or for me. And so it's an and so for 2024, I'm really looking for the and. Being a business owner and a mom full time, I think, is a big part. And then also how to, utilize all of the communication between all of my networks of people to be able to do more virtual work, right? And scaling it. And, I leave this little gem there on how to like utilize the power of AI to make that happen. It's being a huge thing here, but I wanted to open up to any questions for anybody in the audience, if anybody has any questions. And are there any women community network within your area? I believe, go ahead, Charron. You can answer that question.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's for me. And it says, are there any women community networks within my area? I would say there's not. Well, there are. I'm not officially involved in any like specific female community network. I would just say there's just a massive network of female entrepreneurs, and throughout like intersecting within our ecosystem here in Cleveland, we've kind of formed our own organic network where we kind of pull on each other and use resources. But I can look into that and find some and send them to whomever.
Yeah, we can do that too. I believe that you introduced yourself. You work for Women for Crypto in Inc., I believe is what you had said earlier. So if you're looking for areas there, you can definitely connect. That brings me to my closing question of how do people contact you guys if they want more information about your products or what you guys are doing?
Yeah. Well, you can follow Perfect Pineapple on Instagram, Perfect Pineapple Wraps. It's Perfect Pineapple Wraps on all platforms. And we are a startup agency, but we already have 7 clients, which I'm so excited about. And so we are building our website and everything. Okay. We brand new child. Okay. But it's going to be agency-33.com. So you can check me out there as well.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, you can find King's Crowning at kingscrowning.com on Google website. However, also on social media, you can find us on Instagram at kings_crowning. And also personally, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Darrell Spencer, or personally on Instagram, DF_Spencer.
Beautiful.
Let me add you. Yeah, I was going to say Charron Leeper on Instagram and then perfectpineapplewraps.com on the web. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I definitely want to continue the conversation. I'll connect with you guys on LinkedIn too. And Charron, and anytime you want to come to South Florida, definitely connect with me. I can give you some tips on different things happening throughout Art Basel just wrapped here. So that was a great time. But if you're ever looking for something during the summer, Miami Swim Week is always a good time. And then Food and Wine Festival was my second favorite weekend because food and wine. Yes, please.
I'm flying into Miami this in a few hours, actually.
Oh, well, welcome. Welcome. Yes, love it. Love it. Manny, do you have any closing questions for us?
Yeah, Darrell, what are you going to Miami for? I feel like you're going a week too late.
I know. So literally, I was supposed to go to Art Basel when I ended up going to the 40 under 40 Black Enterprise brunch, the honorary reception. I went there, but I'm actually going to Miami to go to Offset's birthday party. So that's tonight.
Darrell,
Okay.
where's my invitation? Darrell,
You
where?
know what? It got lost in the mail, Sharon. I'm gonna resend it to you. Okay.
Thank you so much. I figured as much.
Mic drop there, you know, just casual.
Right. He's like, oh, that's birth. No big deal.
No big deal. No big deal. Well, enjoy. I'm sure it'll be a great party. Well, thank you very much.
Love it.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Love it. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We're gonna keep things moving. I'm gonna hit